Everything Fortnite has been building toward for the past several years finally erupted in the zero-hour finale. The shattering, the fall of the Seven, the Big Bang, the rise of the Demon Master, and the spreading corruption across the Omniverse all converged into one explosive event. For the first time since the Chapter 2 finale, the storyline feels unified, focused, and pushing towards something massive. Today, we are breaking down the entire sequence of events from the moment Hope and Jones activated the Rift device in Springfield, all the way to the mysterious crash landing that marks the beginning of Phase 2. This is the full story of Fortnite's Chapter 6 finale, Zero Hour. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. The zero-hour story begins inside the makeshift laboratory Hope and Jones built beside Springfield's town square, while the embiggened Homer Simpson slept peacefully in the plaza, a rare moment of calm after the chaos of the Zero Shard extraction. The lab around him buzzed with energy. Rakes from Springfield's most iconic gag were scattered across the floor, pipes rattled with unstable pressure, and the ventilation shaft above doubled as a full parkour course for any looper willing to explore. A large window looked over the sleeping giant, and beside it a single red button opened a rift that dropped enormous donuts straight into the square. A hilarious yet strangely comforting reminder of just how unpredictable the Omniverse can be. As the 10-minute countdown began ticking towards 0 hour, Hope and Jones worked relentlessly to configure the Rift device. Every wire, relay, and emitter was recalibrated as they started transmitting distress calls across the Omniverse. This wasn't just a plea for help, it was a rallying cry. They reached out to legends, titans, and icons scattered across countless realities, calling upon Kong, Godzilla, Superman, the Power Rangers, the Mecha Strike Commander, and many others. In this moment, the duo wasn't just preparing a device, they were assembling an army. With the Rift beacons placed and the plan finally ready, Jones activated the Rift device. Instead of sending them directly to oninoima, the machine immediately misfired, launching Hope, Jones, and the Looper into a chaotic sequence of completely different realities. They first materialized inside a Hatsune Miku concert, surrounded by flashing lights and music. Before they could react, they were pulled into a reality where Playboy Carti dominated a basketball court beneath neon floodlights. And just seconds later, they appeared in a strange world where ordinary objects had become fully sentient, some cheering and others screaming in terror. It was a dizzying, almost comedic wrong-turn montage that perfectly embodied Fortnite's unpredictable multiverse. Eventually, after another accidental return to Springfield, Hope managed to stabilize the Rift device long enough to guide them toward their true destination, the corrupted island of oninoima. When Hope, Jones, and the Looper finally reached oninoima, the island was unrecognizable. The Demon Master's corruption had consumed nearly everything. Shattered ground glowed with veins of blue energy, ash drifted through the air, and an ominous cyclone rotated above the island like a storm made of pure darkness. Just as they regained their bearings, the sky behind them split open. Dozens of rifts opened simultaneously as wave after wave of heroes, machines, titans, and fighters poured onto the island. The rebellion soared across the sky. Oxar hammered through aerial formations. The Megazord and Kong landed with thunderous force, and Godzilla's roar shook the ground. Hope and Jones had succeeded. The Omniverse had answered their call. The Looper joined Hunter's X in the skies, engaging the Demon Master's attacks directly. Kong intercepted a massive tentacle strike, only to be knocked backwards. Godzilla fired Atomic Breath, only for the Demon Master to absorb the blast. Every hero, every fighter, every reality seemed united. But as the battle unfolded, it quickly became clear that even this combined force was struggling to hold back the Titan. No matter how strong the heroes were, the Demon Master continued overpowering them. The Looper was eventually knocked out of the sky and later regained consciousness on the shattered ground. Before they could rejoin the fight, one of the Demon Master's tentacles cornered them, striking relentlessly and nearly ending their story on the spot. But in a moment of unexpected heroism, the bride arrived in a blur of yellow and steel, slicing through the tentacle and hauling the Looper onto her motorcycle. Together, they sped across the battlefield just in time to witness the Demon Master unleash a massive zero-shard beam that tore a Star Destroyer in half. The sight was devastating, and the realization that even Starfleets were being ripped apart showed how dire the situation had become. By now, the battle had turned into a massacre. Homer was pulled down and pinned by a tentacle. Mecha Strike Commander was blasted out of the fight before he even made an impact. The Megazord was smashed backward into a cliff. Godzilla and Kong were lifted by their throats, helpless against the Titan's strength. The multiversal army was losing rapidly, and for a moment it looked like nothing could stop the Demon Master from annihilating everything. With everything collapsing around them, Jones attempted one final desperate move. He suggested using the Rift device to summon a red corruption cube from another reality, a plan so far-fetched that Hope outright criticized him for it. But Jones did it anyway. The cube appeared on the battlefield and immediately confronted the Demon Master in a barrage of explosive energy. The two exchanged blasts powerful enough to shake the entire island, but the Demon Master quickly turned the battle in his favor. With brutal cunning, he grabbed Kong's limp body and used him as a shield against the cube's beam, then hurled him like a projectile, sending the cube spinning out of control and causing it to destabilize. Reality teetered on the edge of collapse. But just as the cube began spiraling toward catastrophe, Mecha Strike Commander re-entered the fight. With a final heroic strike, he charged forward and kicked the unstable cube directly into the Demon Master. The resulting explosion was enormous. Light, energy, corruption, and debris erupted outward, and when the storm settled, the Demon Master had been obliterated. The Zero Shard fell free from his control, glowing brightly as the corruption across the island evaporated. With the Demon Master gone, the multiversal fighters were sent home in waves of cleansing light. Oninoima returned to its natural state almost instantly, freed from its demonic corruption. But the Zero Shard suddenly surged with power and pulled Hope, Jones, and the Looper inside it. Their surroundings folded into pure light, and when the world reformed, they found themselves aboard the battle bus drifting above a brand new island, the Golden Coast. Before they could comprehend where they were or what the Shard had done, a mysterious spacecraft blasted the battle bus out of the sky, sending them crashing into the dawn of a new reality. That crash marked the true beginning of Phase 2. And Chapter 7. Meanwhile, the Order traveled to Reality 783 to investigate the aftermath of Jones's distress call. She followed residual rift signals to the Golden Coast, discovering an intense concentration of zero-point energy there. Someone had been manipulating the storm, altering its behavior, and she quickly realized that a new, unidentified entity was also pursuing the remaining zero-point shards. With the 7 scattered across the omniverse after the Big Bang, the Order had no backup and continued her investigation alone. During an infiltration mission inside a tech corporation, she uncovered a group of henchmen working under the Dark Voyager. Someone she suspected was connected to the last reality, but the mission fell apart and she was forced to escape before leaving only a partially recorded message for Jones, warning him that something bigger was coming. Epic later clarified what Zero Hour truly meant. Everything from 2017 through November 2025 was Phase 1 of Fortnite's storyline. The Big Bang didn't just create the Omniverse, it shattered the Zero Point and scattered its pieces across countless realities. That explosion also freed the 7 from the Nothing's control, but scattered them across the Omniverse, leaving them lost and separated. The Zero Shard then transported Hope, Jones, and the Looper to the Golden Coast, a location believed to be Reality 266. According to encrypted files and in-game hints, the Zero Point will be rebuilt this season, and wherever the Zero Point is rebuilt, Reality Zero is restored. That means Chapter 7's island may become the birthplace of a new Zero Point, and the central hub of Phase 2. To add even more mystery, the small spacecraft floating above the Golden Coast is not the true cube's cradle. It belongs to the Dark Voyager, merely resembling the real structure due to his position of power. The real cube's cradle, far larger and more dangerous, still remains unaccounted for somewhere in the Omniverse. One of the most concerning developments is that Hope has completely lost her visions. After the Super Showdown event, her ability to see the future weakened, but now her dreams are gone entirely. She initially believed this was caused by the Demon Master, but his defeat did nothing to restore them. Hope worries the Shard may be responsible, but the truth feels far more ominous. Certain patterns, from Dago's title as champion, to the Mask Maker's design similarities to Geno, to the Citadel references to Kor's loyalty to darkness, all point back to Geno's influence. Geno possesses the power of dream manipulation, an ability he once used to suppress Stellan's visions. The possibility that Geno is secretly puppeteering events behind Zero Hour is becoming increasingly difficult to ignore. The fate of the 7 raises more questions. The last time they were seen, they were trapped in Chrome and being reshaped by the Nothing's influence. Now, Jones confirms they are alive but scattered. some lost, some missing entirely. The leading theory is that the Big Bang's extraction protocol, hinted at by Sloan in Fortnite OG, not only saved the Zero Point but ripped the Seven away from the Nothing's grasp. This freed them but scattered them across the omniverse. It explains why members like the Order and Visitor are safe, and why Chapter 7's main storyline may revolve around finding the rest, including the Foundation. 0 Hour wasn't just the end of a chapter, it was the end of an era. The fall of the Demon Master closed the book on Phase 1, and the crash landing on the Golden Coast opened the future of Fortnite's universe. The Zero Point is being rebuilt, the Seven have been scattered, a new darkness is rising, and somewhere out there, Gino is pulling strings once again. Chapter 7 begins not as a continuation, but as a rebirth, and the story that follows will reshape Fortnite forever. Thank you so much for watching, and if you liked the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe.